When it comes to the Masterpiece Transformers line, there are a lot of fun and exciting things going on. Right now we have Takara gearing up to give us their version of RC. We're getting a Seeker 3.0. We don't know exactly what it looks like yet, but hopefully it's going to be good. We have some exciting things to look forward to from Transbots, like this Dr. Egg and Pick Your Color. They also have their cup on the way. I don't know how many people are excited because a lot of people picked up that Fans Toys one. We also have their Springer on the way, last but hopefully best. And of course we have whatever is going on with Fans Toys, which is a lot, by the way. And today I want to talk to you about who's leading who. Who's leading all of this? Is it just random, what releases show up, how they operate, how they look, the aesthetic, the paint, the engineering, and all of that goes into the transformation? We're going to talk about all of this coming up. Of course, Takara started Masterpiece. There would not be a Masterpiece Transformers if Takara did not do it. Maybe someone would have come up with it down the road. Maybe Hasbro would have done it. Probably not. But without Takara, we wouldn't be collecting these things because they wouldn't exist. So Takara started it. They're the beginning of the game. And whenever Takara comes along and makes a change, third parties pay attention. So whenever Takara decides to go from real world aesthetic to closer to toon aesthetic, it takes a while. It's not an overnight shift, an overnight change. It takes years. It takes years for third party to respond and to make those changes into, in a way, copy Takara. Some of the things Takara does is repaint their old molds with something different, make them more toon. The Plus line. Have we seen that in third party? So I want to dive right in and talk a little bit about Fans Toys, of course. Fans Toys is pretty exciting right now. People are excited about the pre-orders going up for a couple of figures, and we're talking for Spindrift 2.0, which is a rehash of a character they've already made, and they feel like they didn't succeed at that one. Let's try it again. And I'm okay with that. If you want to do better, why not? Hunk's already on the way, or more or less released. You should be getting your billing notifications soon. But it looks good. He looks great. The transformation is pretty interesting. I'm looking forward to this guy myself. What I think the biggest news with Fans Toys has to do with Outrider. Outrider has been sitting on the sidelines or on the back burner for years. I think he might even be a 4-year-old figure. I mean, you look at the FT25 and you got the FT40s out and stuff. So this is an old figure, an old design. Now, not as old as say the Bugs, or not as old as say Tesla, but he's still an old design. So they've redesigned him. Well, start to wonder, why did they redesign him? So I've heard people say they feel like this figure has been completely redesigned from head to toe. And looking at it, I'm starting to agree this is almost like a completely different figure. It's like they're doing their Spindrift 2.0 and just never put the first Spindrift out. That's what this situation is. So if you really think about it, that's exactly what this situation is right here. Why is Fans Toys doing this? Well, because the mold is outdated, in their opinion. I personally think it's because Transbots is the best, and they want to beat Transbots. That's why I think this big holdup. Transbots got theirs out. Fans Toys says ours isn't good enough. It's not going to beat that one. We have to beat them. That's my opinion. That's what I think, but I also think they're influenced by Takara. Okay, so looking at the head sculpt looks similar. Looks like a bigger mouth. Maybe I'm wrong, but a bigger mouth on the new redesign. But head itself, not that much different. Now you get down to the shoulders, and the shoulders evidently have some sort of a breakup to add to the transformation, i.e. more complex transformation than what they originally intended, to make it look more, toon? More accurate? So there's something that's right there. Next point I want to point out is the chest. Now this is a big point of contention for everybody with this character, because the chest, the way it sits, and it's dependent on the animation. Some people feel like it should meet at the bottom of the windshield exactly. I say, looking at the tune, it looks like both of these would work fine. That part would work fine. Now, getting down to the waist area, I want to point out something that is definitely different about these. You go from hip flaps to a hidden hip flap. That's basically what it is. It's a rotating, hiding hip flap. And I think it's ingenious when Takara started doing it. But you know, Takara started doing it years ago. What was it, 3 years ago? We're finally seeing it incorporated into third party. We saw this with MP39, and when we first noticed this and we saw this, it was impressive. It was something like, wait, why is it doing that? Hey, I kind of like that. That's really cool the way they did that. But this figure was a pretty complex figure. This is kind of where they stepped up the complexity. Yeah, MP36 Megatron, they stepped up the complexity with that one also. But that one doesn't have hiding hip flaps. That's got its own issues with its hip flaps. And then they took it to the absolute next level with Hound. With Hound's hip articulation and the hiding hip flap that completely disappears, they just took it to the next level. And I will admit, Hound is a very impressive figure. If they had a little die cast in it and less breakage in it, that figure is just amazing. What they've done with it, what they can accomplish with it, I think it's very impressive. But getting back to Fans Toys, if you were to ask any Fans Toys collector, they would tell you Fans Toys is leading the market. Fans Toys is doing more for Masterpiece than any other company, and that's true. They're putting out more figures. Their figures look good. Their figures are highly sought after. There is so much going on with that company, so much getting released, and they look good, and it's just fun and exciting every time you get one. And you get what, 2, maybe 3 in a year from Takara. But Fans Toys is showing that they're following the lead from Takara. X-Transbots is no different. X-Transbots has done a reissue of their Aegis. And this isn't the Trailbreaker show today. I apologize that so many coincidences surround this one character. But they're reissuing this guy, or they already have, and they're going to do it again in Toon colors, in Takara's Plus colors. This thing matches Takara's Plus very well. How do I know? Because I have it. How do I know? Because I've done this comparison between the old one and the new one, and I don't know. I'm kind of back and forth on which one I like better. But the truth is, X-Transbots is following Takara's footsteps. They're doing the same things. Right here, who's leading who? Everyone might think, hey, the third party's leading this. Takara's still in control. Now, MMC seems to be doing their own thing. I don't really see MMC being swayed any way, one way or another, by any company at all whatsoever. Now, these cassettes, and I keep showing this tired, old, boring, worn out picture because they haven't put anything new out for it. They are slow moving, and I think they're putting their combiner ahead of everything else, and that's just the way I feel. But with this, they do what they want to do. They also have the reformatted line and all that stuff. They are different. They are not following, but they're also not leading. Quickly on to talk about their Bruticus and how this relates to whether they follow other companies and do what other companies do, or they do their own thing. They do their own thing with this for a multitude of reasons, and number one is it's all-inclusive transformation. It's not parts forming. They refuse to jump on the parts forming bandwagon. And I think that's because they know there's a segment of the community that is not okay with parts forming. I'm okay with parts forming. I don't mind. But I'm also intrigued by this because every one of these figures is effectively a triple changer. I mean, you could say that about all figures on all combiners are triple changers. But with this one, it seems to be even more complex because you have to work in the foot, you work in the hand, work in the head. All of that has to get worked in. But then at the end, they did kind of toss in an upgrade kit. So that's parts forming. I also want to say that the transformations are actually pretty decent. And they don't really sacrifice the transformation by making it horrible. But what you do kind of sacrifice is it's not perfect in any mode. They're good in every mode. They're good. I'm not going to say they're bad figures and bad modes. I'm saying the fun aspect of the transformation is still there with this company. It's not as frustrating as transforming stuff from Fans Toys and some of the Transbots stuff. It's kind of fun. Some of the stuff's ingenious what they do, but I could say they don't look 100% perfect, top-notch masterpiece. Again, they're doing their own thing. Where does that leave us now? Well, we have kind of Takara's response to all of the other RCs that are on the market. And a lot of people are saying they don't like the way it looks or whatever. I think that it looks good, but it's not perfect. And I just don't think we'll ever get a perfect transforming RC. And I don't want to say I want to live with the fact that we are never going to get a perfect transforming RC. But on the flip side, I think this is going to be the closest. You know, I'm not going to knock it till I try it. I think they've done some great things with this figure. I'm not going to make my mind up till I get my hands on it. Get Takara putting out their Starscream. Now this is probably a huge cash grab for them because of the 12 Seekers they're going to make out of the same mold. I guess MP11 mold broke, and they were like, well, we got to do something now. I really don't know. But of course, this has been in the rumor, in the works for a long time. But I can't help but wonder if this is kind of a response to Make Toys' success with their Seekers. Make Toys Seekers made people dump Takara's. In fact, Takara's price has dropped. They're clearancing out a lot of their figures at all these retailers. Takara's not doing it. The retailers are doing it because they can't sell them because Make Toys are that great. So many people have jumped ship from the MP11 mold and tried to get every one of the Make Toys version. I think this is Takara's response. And just like we saw with MP36 and the Megatron, they're going to try to come out with their Starscream and all their Seekers and their Seeker mold and get everybody to abandon Make Toys. I think that's going to be their goal. And the other thing is Make Toys is kind of struggling. They can't keep up with putting out for the demand. They can't keep up with demand. Even though they have a great product, quality control's got some issues, but they've got a great looking product and people will buy it in droves if they could get it produced. And lastly, I'm kind of curious why we haven't seen Fans Toys or any of these other third-party companies put out a Bumblebee in the Masterpiece scale that is better than the 2.0. If everybody talks about Bumblebee 2.0 is so terrible, he looks so horrible, he looks fine on my shelf from here about 10 feet away. But if everyone talks about how horrible it is, where's all the competition against this one? Where are all these people, all these companies coming out with a better version? Maybe it's because Big Daddy Takara says, kind of on the down low, you can't make it. Don't make that figure. But then that doesn't explain all the competition for Prime with Transform Element and with Magic Square at the same exact time that MP44 was announced. That doesn't make sense. So that can't really be the reason. Or could it be another one of those situations where when Takara puts out their mold, it wins? Well, people don't think Bumblebee won, but still, when Takara puts out a figure, most people jump on it. Most people call that their definitive version. Fans Toys is rivaling that, though. Fans Toys is making more people think twice about it. Takara is the definitive one. But I want to know what you think. Who's leading who? Where are you at on this topic? Like, subscribe, try to hear him hang around.